Redeeming villains as heroes often makes for some dramatic moments, and the way Skylanders Trap Team allows Portal Masters the chance to play as captured villains leads this year's sequel down a path of righteousness.
Nice one, Gopher!
It adds even more variety to an already massively diverse action platformer RPG. And even better, Trap Team reclaims some of the series' better features, like Skystones and tilting lock puzzles, which were so disappointingly absent from last year's Swap Force. The characters have always been the best part of the Skylanders series, and Trap Team introduces some of the best heroes and villains yet.
Eat this!
From a baby T-Rex with a helicopter backpack, to a candy-barfing pinata, to an Eastern-themed Windmaster armed with a giant boomerang, Trap Team is just full of inventiveness. The concept, design, and overall performance of the characters is a high point for the series.
Up, up, up!
There are also new mini versions of your favorite existing Skylanders, including an adorable tiny Spyro who goes by the name of Spry.
All fired up.
Yes, it's a way to make you buy more toys, but come on, who doesn't want one of these little guys? Unfortunately, character progression suffers from an abundance of loot. Even playing as 6 entirely new characters, I had maxed out most of their upgrades a little over halfway through Trap Team's 10-hour story, which meant I spent the second half with practically no use for tens of thousands of pieces of treasure. This would be less of a problem if there were new upgrade options for your existing Skylanders, but that stealth elf you've had for 3 years still won't have any new ninja powers to spend her treasure on.
Ready for another magical upgrade?
Trap Team also allows you to use shards to capture and play as over 40 villains, from a chef with a hot pepper for a head to a treasure chest with teeth. It's particularly cool that some of the villains have abilities that are designed to be used in co-op. Broccoli Guy can drop healing glyphs, for instance, while Chill Bill can immobilize enemies with his freeze gun. Even in single player, it's easy enough to swap back and forth to these villains and use their support abilities. While the villains don't get the same sort of upgrade options as the Skylanders themselves, each villain has his or her or its own redemption mission somewhere in the campaign. It's a fun story moment to lead the villain through a specific challenge that brings them around to the side of the heroes, but none of the missions are co-op, which can be a bit of a snag if you're playing with a friend. Even worse, some of the missions boil down to basically just saying hello to another character. It feels like kind of a cheat.
I found these things noteworthy.
As great as it is, the abundance of awesome villains contributes to some story problems. The Doom Raiders come at you one at a time, which gives the missions a sort of villain of the week kind of feel. You jump from bad guy to bad guy so quickly that the story never really seems to focus the way it did around Chaos in the previous games. I was also a little annoyed that some of the villains are part of a new mystery element that Eon keeps saying he'll explain, but never really does. My guess is that the mystery will be solved at retail eventually. The villain missions are just one of the many diversions in Trap Team, but the bigger story here is the return of Skystone Smash. The collectible card game is one of the best parts of 2012's Skylanders Giants, but is annoyingly absent in Swap Force. Now it's back in a more satisfying head-to-head design that plays more like Magic the Gathering than Tic-Tac-Toe. There are far more, and far more interesting, tactical decisions to be made during a Trap Team match than there were in Giants, as you match attack and defense values and special abilities against your opponent's cards. The rest of the minigames are a bit hit or miss. I love the return of the more complex lock puzzles, but the side-scrolling platforming sequences are still a bit of a pain, especially when the jump pads start messing up the co-op experience. And the rapping battles are just... there's just no reason for that. In most ways, Skylanders Trap Team is the best game in the series. The abundance of inventive and genuinely fun characters, and the inclusion of playable villains, means there's always some amazing new trick to try. The new versions of Skystones and the tilting lock puzzles are fun enough that I'd play them just by themselves. On the downside, there's nothing new here for your existing Skylanders, and the overall story just fails to come together. Still, where else are you going to see a broccoli wizard fight a heavy metal werewolf? For more on all things Skylanders, stick with IGN.